through my veins. On the pitch where the glory remains, the cockerel stands brave on the crest. North London pride, this ain't no jest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. Oh, Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to THFC Till We Die. I'm James. I've got Big Dermatron to my right, and right below me, I've got Rebel. How are we guys doing? Are you both well? And are we looking forward to Wednesday?
I cannot wait for Wednesday. I am buzzing already. I mean, this is our 5th European final. We've won. No, is it our 5th? Let me get it right. I think it's our 5th European final. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's our 6th European final.
Yeah,
We've-
1-3.
We've won 3 and lost 2. But there is a little, I got a bit of an omen here, right? We won in 72, lost in 74, won in 84, lost in 2019. What do you think that tells you for 2025?
We're gonna win.
Win, yeah. Tottenham, of course, first winners of the UEFA Cup back in 1972, beaten Wolves in a 2-legged final. Again, we lost it in 74 to Feyenoord, but won it 10 years later against Anderlecht. And I know Rebel below me is just getting, he's just checking his reservations, making sure he can watch the final, to make sure he can go to a pub and just drink his sorrows away. But Rebel, how are you, sir?
I'm grand, but I'm absolutely petrified of Wednesday because I think we're going to lose. Like,
that
our
worries me.
teams are all after winning. Liverpool have won. Palace have won. Kane's broken his trophy, hoodoo, jinx, whatever you want to call it, curse. Newcastle have won their first trophy in 70 years. I I have zero confidence that we're going to enjoy any bit of tomorrow night's match or Wednesday night's match. And I'm just kind of going, can I watch from behind the couch?
It is the year of the bird, isn't it? If you look at it, the liver bird, the magpies, and the eagle.
Eagles.
They've all. I couldn't believe it when you sent me that earlier, and it's actually is. It is the cockerel's next, so it's the year of the bird.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about you, James, but as a Spurs fan, we're 48 hours away from the game. Are the nerves kicking in yet? Are they kicking in just a little bit?
I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I will get nervous probably half an hour before kickoff, and then those nerves will build and build and build and build, and then by kickoff time, I'll be a wreck, full of nerves, but there'll be excitement in there as well. I'm so looking forward to this game. This game is like. This is massive for us. I like we talked about it a few weeks ago, Dermo, before we'd even reached the final, and we said like, would this be bigger than the Champions League final? And I think this is bigger than the Champions League final, because I actually think when we played Liverpool, I didn't think I was hoping we'd give them a good game, but I was never this optimistic. But I said it quite a while back. It's something in the stars. There's something. It's feel it in the water, and I'm still sticking by that.
Yeah, I get this feeling I got in '84 that we're going to win it. Do you want to welcome people in the guests? James, welcome. Who's popped in? Only one person's popped in, but thank you for popping in. Very kind of you.
Yeah, so we've got Mr. Wayne Bonner in the house, and he said, "Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. One day close to the final and victory. Come on, you Spurs." Absolutely, Mr. Bonner. We are all excited here, except Rebel. He's started chewing on his fingernails already by the looks of it. He'll be down to his knuckles before kickoff's even started.
Look, it's a question I'll ask you too, right? And it's something that, look, put away the Premier League season, right? And look at the Europa League and the Conference League as a whole, and how well English clubs have done well in Europe this year. What does that say to you about the Premier League in Europe? I mean, the Europa, let's put for us, right? The Europa League's not an easy league to get to, final. It's not easy to get to. But do you feel it's benefited us with the teams from the Champions League not dropping down to it?
Absolutely, and I think it should be like that, because let's be honest, you're in the Champions League, you get knocked out of the Champions League, okay, go into the Europa League. But it's also the fall down of, like, same as the Conference League. If you were in the Europa League, you got knocked out of the Europa League, okay, have a crack at another trophy. You weren't good enough for this league, but for this competition, but here you go, have a crack at this one. And how many times did teams that dropped out of the Champions League actually win the Europa League?
Probably.
90. I don't know the exact number, but I would probably guess at least higher than 70% of the teams that actually won the Europa League were teams that fell out of the Champions League. And I think it made it unfair, because then it takes away that magic of this trophy. Yeah. And I think, look, the Champions League, people will talk about it becoming it's the new Super League or whatever, the European Super League. That's fine. You can call it that. But I think giving the Europa League and the Conference League its own sort of pathway and route, and you can only win that competition if you qualify for that competition. I think it gives it that more. It makes it a bit more magic. It gives you that excitement for the trophy. I think it gives it that more credibility. I think is the word I'm looking for. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that. I mean, that's my opinion, but
I think this nonsense about, but Tottenham have been shit, and United have been shit, and they don't deserve to get the Champions League place, and blah blah blah. has been hypocritical because Arsene Wenger was the one that kind of started talking about that whole situation with our two clubs. And all of a sudden now Crystal Palace are going to be going into Europa next year. Nobody has a problem with that. But outside the European places as well. And nobody is saying anything about it. I think it's great, fantastic. It just happens to be because it's two high-profile clubs and it suits the narrative, they decide to pee all over us. And you make a great point. Like, apart from maybe one hand worth of clubs that should drop down from Champions League to Europa or UEFA, depending on what it was at the time, they haven't been very successful in it. And I think it's ironic that Arsenal, of all clubs, are saying it's easy to win this competition, it's a poor competition. Arsenal. You have two European accolades to your name. And potentially the winners of our game on Wednesday could equal that come the first game or the first one of the first couple of games of the new season. They could end up with a Super Cup to go with their Europa League.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions for tonight. Who would you prefer if we won the Europa League? Just say for us we won it, and then I'll switch it around for you, Red Bull. If we won it, who would you fancy? I would fancy Inter Milan.
Yeah, I would definitely fancy Inter Milan.
Yeah.
I think Paris Saint-Germain are going to win that. To be fair, if you ask me to put where my money is, I would probably say Paris Saint-Germain have got that pretty much 95% of the time they're gonna win that. But if you ask me who I would like to play in the Super Cup, I would definitely say Inter Milan. And just quickly, one other thing I want to say about that is I know people are being negative and like we don't deserve to be in the Champions League. We don't deserve to be in the Champions League. I'm not actually even thinking about the Champions League. The Champions League is a bonus of winning that competition. What I care about is winning a trophy, winning a competition. All these pundits that go out and say, "Oh yeah, Man United shouldn't be winning. Man United shouldn't be in Champions League. We've had a poor season. Tottenham shouldn't be in Champions League. They've had a poor season." I don't care. I just want to win something. That's what I see. I just want to win a trophy. Excuse me, guys. Sorry.
That's right. I'm Rebel. Look, it's not us. You know, we didn't make the rules. UEFA made the rules, and look, there's 15,000 ticketless Tottenham fans going out there for Wednesday. Only 2,000 Man United fans. Big up the column is in the chat, by the way. It says GG. I don't know what that means. GGM.
Good game, Man United.
Glory, Man United.
No.
Good game, Man United. Good game.
Good game. But are you surprised there's not more Man United fans for going out to Bilbao?
Here's the thing. Look at what Bilbao have done in terms of their ticket pricing. Not their ticket pricing, in terms of their accommodation pricing. I'd imagine there's probably as many affluent United fans as there is Tottenham fans, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of them in London as well in terms of that support United. But I had a brief look at the Bilbao hotel situation, and it's mad. £2,000, £3,000 for one night, and you get absolutely nothing but a box standard room for it. Like, it's basically squeezing any possibility for an ordinary fan to be able to afford to go out there, because you're going to have to look for a place 5 hours away from the venue in order to be able to afford it. The second thing is, I think that the season has affected a lot of things in Manchester. There's going to be stuff that myself and Colin are going to be talking about over the summer with regards to just how poorly ran a club we have been. But obviously, you're seeing a situation where corporations and such are getting priority in terms of the ticket access. And then you're talking about a ballot, an open ballot. Now, I'm not sure what way that's being divided down, whether it's kind of a 50-50 between those that declare their platinum and those that declare their Manchester United, or what way they don't. I didn't even bother entering it. But you're talking about a small percentage of tickets. Now, that ground is an absolutely fine ground. I think it's 40-something thousand or 50,000, isn't it, that it holds. But again, I can't help but feel, and they deserve their fight, don't get me wrong, that when it became two sides, the move should have been, right, lads, can we get Wembley and we'll Bilbao a final? Like, it wouldn't have mattered if there was two different leagues in there. You go to Bilbao and you play on. But in those rare occasions where you get, I don't care whether it's French, German, Spanish, Italians, the move has to be surely to kind of pick up a spare ground that you've had on retainer in the event of this situation happening. And I think it would have probably lifted the occasion even more. Imagine going to Wembley on Wednesday night, where both sides are kind of on the brink of not saving their seasons, but making their seasons less shit.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Tottenham and why there's so many of them willing to part with their hard-earned cash is even starved.
Well, can I sorry, I'll just jump over you, Ray. I've just gone onto a website, right? It's footballticket.net now. And this is for the Champions League final, okay?
Yeah.
Official category 3, pairs guaranteed, adult tickets, clear view, 2,250 for one ticket.
Not to mention your £5 in accommodation on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's scandalous. I mean, I know Colum's saying here, let you read. Sorry, you're in charge. Go on. I'm your
It's fine, Duro. It's fine. Colum's saying here, a lot of United fans are also not going out of protest against the Glaziers. And I can understand why. I mean, when your manager is having to put his hand into his own pocket to buy tickets, to fly staff out, it kind of says a lot about what's going on in the background of your club, Rebel. I mean, me and Dermo both know what's going on in the background of our club, and we've had to endure this for decades.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an update on that, guys. Right, Tottenham Hotspur are charging. You can get a ticket for your season ticket holder. That's not too bad, but they're charging you €800 to get a bus over to the final.
Yeah.
Now that is ridiculous. Or they're charging €800 for charter flights. Who can afford €800?
Not a lot of people in today's climate with like, I mean, the squeeze on finances on everyday fans and everyday people is just like, is crazy. I mean, before we even got to the final, me and my brother were both, who was a big Manchester United fan, we were both looking at trying to get out there, and we'd said like we will get tickets. And as soon as we reached the final and we both started looking, it was like, there's no way, no how. That's just for a ticket alone. That would have been 1 month's salary for me. That means none of my bills are being paid. There's no food on the table for my kids. There's no roof over their head. There's no gas being paid for. No electricity being paid for. No water. No TV. No nothing. That's my entire wage for a month. Just for a ticket, not including the transfer, the flights, and then the accommodation.
I mean, I'm on the ticketcompare.com site at the moment, right? For 2 tickets, at the moment, category 2 is €580 each. But if you were to sit saying that sounds short side lower tier, Tottenham Hotspur supporters, 800 starting price, €830 each.
Yeah.
So you're looking at
that's nearly £1,000.
Well, it's over. It's 1,600 plus your flights and plus your timid accommodation. It's ridiculous. It really is. Like,
I mean, I like what Tottenham have done. I don't know if Manchester United done it. I haven't seen anything if Manchester United doing it. I like the fact that they're opening White Hart Lane to allow fans to go watch it, and for putting big screens on the grass and everything on the pitch, so you can see it, and you get in a sort of a stadium atmosphere and things like that. I do like that idea. I also think it's fantastic that TNT Sports have agreed to show the Europa League, the Conference League, and the Champions League free of charge, free to air for everybody, regardless if you're a subscriber or not. I think that's fantastic, because it then allows the fans of the club who can't afford subscriptions on TV packages and can't afford to go out to see the game. It gives them the chance, and I think it reconnects. That shows that there is a connection with the fans, and
that why people come to us and watch our watch alongs or watch other channel watch along, because it's another way that they can't afford. And this is where it gets me that football is pricing out the genuine fan.
Yeah,
both our clubs. You go back 41 years ago. I don't know how much it was to get into White Hart Lane. I think it was £6 or £7. But do you know? Look how much football's changed over 40 years. The face of the game's changed, and I know we've both got problems with our owners, but I mean, look, I'm really looking forward to the final, but who needs this more? Ange or Amaron? Because I think Ange needs it more. Yeah, we need it more than United do.
Yeah,
I want to come in there briefly. You phrased it as to Ange or Amaron. I don't believe it's a case of Ange needing it more, because I'm not sure Ange keeps his job regardless of whether it's your club needs it more rather than specifically your gaffer.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, we as a club, we need it more. And look, Manchester. I mean, I've seen and read newspaper things, and even some of your ex-players that say, "Oh, Manchester United haven't got the pulling power that they once had." They have. They have got the pulling power. It's Manchester United. They have got the pulling power. They're still classified as one of the biggest teams in the world. The fan base, everything like that, is their media pull is still massive. So I think that they're wrong in the saying that Manchester United haven't got the pull. I mean, if say neither of us were in the Champions League, say neither of us were in this Europa League final, and none of us were going to get Champions League football next year, and we both finished like 17th and 16th. The league stays the same. We don't leapfrog each other, and that we're just going to be set for domestic competitions next year. You go to a club, a player, a world-class player. Both of us go to him. I don't know, Victor Gyökeres, for instance. 60 million. We both offer him £60 million. We both offer him exactly the same wages. We both offer him the exact same bonus packages. Both clubs are exactly identical. Which clubs are choosing?
Choose us. I don't agree with this narrative that Man United are this big pulling club. We are as big as a club as Manchester United are. I hate this narrative that everyone thinks Tottenham is a small club. We're not.
No. I don't think that.
Hang on. Just let me finish. And we still have the pulling power, I think, as much as Man United does. It all depends who your manager is as well.
I agree. I don't think we're a small club, Dermo. What I'm trying to say is that as players, what they will look at, first of all, is they're going to look at the history of that club. And history tells us that Manchester United have won more recently.
Can I just briefly come in there on that point? Because I think Gyökeres is probably a bad example, because obviously he worked with Ruben Amorim already. And he does not want the exact same set of terms and conditions. He's going to pick the manager that he knows. But I'm going to throw in the situation where United are. we need Champions League football not because of the fact that we need to beat Tottenham, not because of the fact that we need it for pulling power, but because financially speaking, we're so badly in the crud that without it, it will severely impact our ability to spend in the summer because of the rules that City seem to ignore for whatever reason or another. So, to use the Jocker situation, apparently he's waiting for two things. The result of Wednesday night and his cup final that's on at weekend.
Yeah.
And if United lose to Tottenham, he's going to be an Arsenal player, it seems. That's the long and the short of it. But in terms of a player that has no connection whatsoever with Manchester United's staff or with Tottenham's future staff, and you get the example of where we're neither of us are in Europe next year. We're both just doing domestic only. It'll come down to the selling of the project. Manchester United and Ruben Amorim would have to articulate that they can dig the club out of the situation it is in and get into a functioning football team that can compete for success. Tottenham, despite what you feel about Levy, whoever picks up that club is going to be in a position where they don't have to worry about finances, they don't have to worry about their structures, and they can kind of go, well, look, there's half a dozen players we need to get rid of, but we have the capacity to do so because we're so financially sound.
I'm sorry, I'm just singing along to John Fitzpatrick. Oh, it's been removed. I was singing along to the song. Sorry, in my head. Look, Colin says, no, you're not, Domo. Our name holds more weight than Tottenham. He does go on to say, that's no disrespect to you guys. It's just we have been shit and still won trophies. Well, look, Colin, I understand where you're getting that, but who was the first team to win a European trophy? Tottenham. Who was the first team to win 2 European trophies? Tottenham. Who was the first team to do the double? Tottenham. Who was the first team to, I think, retain the FA Cup the following year? Tottenham. We've been trailblazers through the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. We won more trophies than you in the 60s and 70s and 80s than Man United did. Grant you won a lot of trophies in the 90s and early 2000s under Sir Alex Ferguson. But
Dermot,
hang on,
briefly.
Yeah.
You mentioned about that Tottenham did this, that, and the other thing first. But I suppose if you're you could twist the narrative or a bit of underwear any way you want it.
It's not twisting the narrative. I'm speaking facts. They're facts.
Manchester United won a Champions League more recently. Manchester United won a Premier League more recently.
They're facts. They're facts.
But I think what we have to look at today is Manchester United squad and their unbeaten European record, somehow, God knows how, and looking at Tottenham squad and trying to take a measure of where those squads are in terms of deciding can one get a bit of a tactical advantage over the other and win that Europa League in Bilbao. I think the accolades of the past, quite impressive. I don't think we can use them as a measuring stick for Wednesday night. Well,
look, I don't know what you think, James, but I'm only speaking facts. I'm speaking what we've done. That's like Ange says, I always win something in my second season. That's a fact. It's not boasting. Look, I get it. I get it. Man United have won a lot more recently, but we're proud of our history. Like Man United are proud of their history. James, I don't know what. Oh, that's what happened to it. Oh, okay, Grant. I don't know who took it out, but I wasn't going to bring it up. All right, good man. Good man. I don't know what you think, James, on that. Does Rebel have a point? Or am I just getting too ahead of myself?
he does have a point, but I also see it from the flip. I see it from your point of view, and I was just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit, of regards to that, and it was just for side by side. Historically, we did win the first. We did win the first English club to win 2 European Cups and things like that. But when you look at more modern history, and we have, and whereas Manchester United went through a long period of dominance in the Premier League, and look, I wouldn't like nothing more than to see Manchester United, and I've really enjoyed Manchester United's complete fall of grace from being a complete English dominance powerhouse to now languishing where we are. And I mean that in no disrespect, Rebel, or to you, Colm, but I have found it enjoyable to watch a team suffer, because it's like, welcome to the club.
Yeah. I mean, look, do you want to read this out from Colin? Go on.
Yeah, he says, but Colm says, back in the 1880s, Dermo, you can win whatever you want first, but now how many trophies are you behind Manchester United? And that's all players care about, is who is the most likely to win cups. And that's the point I was getting to.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But I think if you look, I think if you look at the banter that we can have between each other, and it's going to be so important on Wednesday that whoever wins this, and look, I hope it's us. And I'm not being disrespectful to Rebel and to Colm. I hope it's us that wins it, because I think we deserve it more. I think the players need it. I think us fans need it more than anything. I mean, we've been 17 years without a trophy, or 18 years without a trophy. And I think whatever happens, to win a European trophy is something that would only come once in his lifetime. I'm lucky enough to see us in 3 European finals. 84, 2019, and now
2025.
2025. And I've seen us win one, lose one. I know what it feels to win. Like, you win a Europa Cup, right? I know how Rebel probably tell you how it feels that if we win when they won the Champions League, it's a different feeling, isn't it, Rebel?
Well, I remember 99, which was the completion of the treble.
Yeah.
And I think somebody had to send a taxi to the moon to bring me back down. I was doing so many backflips. And it was kind of a smash and grab. 2 goals in big time. Then beating Chelsea in Moscow. That was special. Even we dragged them to penalties. And they had been at Anderson every single time they could get a chance to mock him, the Chelsea fan base, and he'd scored one of the penalties that sunk them and beat them in Moscow. It's a great feeling. And don't get me wrong, Manchester United, when it comes to their transfers, unfortunately, we're going to be looking at Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle. Every single one of those clubs, and even probably Villa at this point, are probably in a more advanced position in their ability to compete than Manchester United Football Club. So it's Gyökeres coming to the Prem. I'm not joining either of our clubs if I'm Gyökeres. I'll be quite honest with you, because I don't think we're ready. I'm joining Arsenal if that's the one that's on the table to him. I'm joining Liverpool if that one's on the table to him. Teams like Chelsea, they're probably only a strike away from being in around 5-10 points of the top of the league next season. It would absolutely make no sense for anyone that wants to seriously have a crack off Champions League, seriously have a crack off Premier League, to join our clubs. But yes, the jubilation of winning a final, like the FA Cup, people have been kind of poo-pooing it for the last couple of years. I don't care if it was a Tiddlywinks Cup, beating City and putting an absolute puss on Pep Guardiola is worth more than anything. And I would take it every day of the week and twice on a Sunday.
Yeah. What's your guys' thoughts on that game yesterday on Saturday? Talking about the FA Cup on Palace beating Man City, James. What's your thought on it? I mean, I thought it was great for football in general that Palace won, and fair play to them.
Yeah.
The fans were great. They deserved it. But why did
I think they
why
were.
did
I think
Haaland
they were
not take
lucky.
that? Yeah, but why did Haaland not take that penalty? That really surprised me.
Yeah, and I think. I mean, I've seen things about the game. I didn't watch the game. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't watch the game. I was a bit busy, but I did see the highlights. And there's certain things in that game that it was a bit of a letdown for Manchester City, like how the Crystal Palace goalkeeper was still on the pitch, is for a starter, handling outside of his area deliberately handling outside his area, pushing the ball away. VAR didn't even look at it. And that is what shocked me more than anything, is the fact that VAR didn't look at it. But no, all credit to Crystal Palace, really. I mean, at the end of the day, they wanted it more. And I think that's what cup finals comes down to. Which set of players wanted it more? Why Erling Haaland didn't take the penalty? Only Erling Haaland and oh God, who did take the penalty?
Matessa, was it?
No, I forget now.
Oh, sorry, Marmoush.
Marmoush,
yeah. Only Haaland and Marmoush know the answer to that. We can speculate that Haaland may have thought, okay, I'll let Marmoush get it. I've won things with Manchester City. I've been the glory man for Manchester City before. I'm going to give a young upcoming player the chance to basically put his name in lights, be on the back page of all the newspapers and things like that. He ended up on the back page of the newspapers, but for the wrong reasons.
Actually, interestingly, just on that, I heard that the reason for him not taking the penalty is, I can't remember the exact number, that he missed it. Was it 3 and 6 or 4 and 6 of his last?
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
So it might be, like I say, it might be that. It might very well be that, Rebel. I was just speculating. It could have been that Haaland he is a very team sort of orientated player, so you would assume that maybe he might have given a younger player the opportunity. But no, I mean, if he's missed 4 and 6, then I would be sort of doubting his ability as well. I'd be like thinking, maybe give it to somebody else. You've missed 4 and 6, but it just turned out that, like I say, Palace wanted it more. And we've got a bird on the logo, so.
Yeah, it is. Big up to Johnny as well. He says if the manager says that he wins the trophy in his second season, then Wednesday night he puts his money where his mouth is. Also,
I throw a question out to the panel and the floor.
Yeah.
The comments. There was a lot of looking into the comments of both our managers with regards to, does this save your season? And they're poles apart. Ruben Amorim said he was embarrassed to look at the table, that it's an absolute shocking state of play to be in, and that it's unbecoming of Manchester United Football Club, and that it doesn't do anything to change that. Whereas the fellow that's currently occupying your managerial position seems to think that the fact that it takes your trophy hall where your pictures are of winning teams and put the team that's in the modern era on that is a success. Which manager's point of view do you think really articulates how you feel as Tottenham Hotspur fans?
I would say Ange. James, what would you agree? Or I would say Ange. Actually.
Yeah, I think Ange saying that we've carried the torch and waved it high and proud of being sort of bottle jobs, and it's Spurs, we never win anything, and which isn't true because we have won lots of things in our history, and I think that us winning a trophy, us winning the Europa League, it enables us to break that curse of or the classification of we're serial bottlers, and we're serial fluff our lines, and we're serial never going to win anything. I mean, look, 18 years is a long time not to win something. I agree. But there's teams in the Premier League that have been 30, 40, 50 years without winning anything.
Yeah, Everton haven't won any. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, are they serious? I was going to say Everton haven't won anything for quite a while. I think it's like 50 years they haven't won a trophy.
95 the last time they won something.
So 30 years then.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, who've just lifted the FA Cup, it's their first ever major trophy. Are they serial? Do they get labelled serial bottlers because they've never won anything at all? It's the label that gets thrown at our club. It's the shade that gets thrown at our club. That's what bugs me.
It's this Spursy thing I cannot stand. I hate the Spursy tag. I mean, you look at United, right? When they weren't winning anything, they weren't called serious bottlers. It's just, I think it's because we got to so many finals under Pochettino, and Pochettino didn't have either the managerial guile or the tactics to get us over that line. When you go back to 2019, he started an injured Harry Kane.
Yeah.
You don't do that. And this is why on Wednesday, I'm very much against Sonny starting. Because I think you start with your fittest players and you bring on Sonny for the last 20 minutes. But look, it's something Colin put in the chat here that I want to talk about as well, guys. And it's a very good point. I think I said it to Colin yesterday or something. I can't remember. I know it came up that whoever wins, it is papering over the cracks of the season we've had. Now, we know Paratici and Gabardini are coming back to Spurs. We know that. Apparently, it's going to be imminent breaking news, but we broke it 2 weeks ago. Yeah. We broke it 2.5 weeks ago that he was coming back.
Might have actually been longer than that, Dermo. I think it was about a month ago. We told you.
Yeah. See,
I think it was. I think it was early April. I think I got that information on.
So, look, you got that, but how much of a crack is it papering over? And who's got the bigger cracks? Is it Manchester United or is it Tottenham? And I think, look, I'm so bullish about Wednesday that we're going to win because I think United won't turn up on Wednesday. I do. I think there's so much disarray within your dressing room, with your management, with the owners. And Tottenham seem to be, for once, we're all together. We seem to be a united front going forward. And I don't see United being together because you got what's his name? You got the Glazers, you've got who's your man's name?
Ratcliffe.
Jim Ratcliffe. You've got Amarin, not all singing off the same hit. Hang on, let me finish. Sorry. I should start. Let me start and I shall finish. Mastermind, right? I don't think them three are all united. I don't think that half the United players are united behind Amarin. I think you're in disarray. I know Conlon's put in the chat, United dressing room is fine. I don't think you are. I think we're more of a united unit going into this final than Manchester United. But on the flip side of that, could that lead us down a false sense of security that United could turn up and get one over us?
I'll let James answer that before I quit.
It could. Look, I've said it. I'm confident. I'm pumped. I have every confidence in the team in actually getting as a result. And I've looked at both sets of players and tried to build sort of my dream 11 of like, or not dream 11, but combined 11 between Spurs and Manchester United. And to me, I'm putting 2 Man United players in that full 11. I mean, Boris says here, well, there's also a new. Oh, where is it gone? Boris says there's also a new manager in the race with what Paratici likes in the Ajax manager who bottled the Dutch league with a 9-point gap with 5 games to go. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things about this guy today recently. Actually, Farioli, I think his name is. I think it's a lot of hot air. I just think it's because he's become available on a free transfer, and like every player in the world, when the summer transfer window rolls around, we get sort of, we're going after him. I mean, if we went after every player that we're ever touted for, we'd have 500 strikers, 7,000 midfielders, 8,000 defenders, and 50 goalkeepers. Because we just get linked with everybody. I just think it's one of these. He's available on a free, and he's basically it's clickbait. Basically, how I see it, it's clickbait for Farioli. I don't think there's probably any interest in Farioli. It's not something I've heard. We've spoke numerous times about the managers that have been strongly linked with the club. And I think but I think Man United could cause us an upset, and if we're not on his game, we'll get punished by Man United. We have to turn up. We have to be on our game. If we don't, Manchester United are more than capable of hurting us.
Thanks for the kind of echo what James said. Look at that, the FA Cup final. Who in their right mind would have said Manchester United were going to beat City last year in the FA Cup final? Nobody. Zilch. Nada. You went in and supported the team, but deep down you were kind of worried about it because United weren't playing to the levels that they should be. James and Dermot, I'd imagine you'd agree with me that the last 13 years Manchester United Football Club, post Alex Ferguson era, we've been considered a bit of in our banter era, that we're not a club to be taken seriously. Yet, there's 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups in Europa League in that banter era. Not saying that that's something that Tottenham should be happy, but they should be looking at bigger prices as well, like United. But there's probably 80% of Premier League clubs would kill for that kind of trophy return in the last 13 years. Now,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd loved that. I'd have loved that kind of trophy record over the last 13 years.
But we haven't had it because our owners won't spend the money. That's why. And we had a manager in that I call Poch a loser. And I stand by that because he didn't win us anything. He didn't. He got us to finals, but you get to a final, great. Doesn't mean you win a trophy at the end of it. And
I want to say one thing, Dermot. If he didn't sack Joe at that time, he won FA Cup.
If it doesn't, I agree. I mean, we still don't know. I don't know what you think, guys, but I think this final has turned into like a massive thing for both clubs. It really has. It's turned into a massive game for us because it's our first chance to win a trophy since 2008. Does Ange stay or go? That's another question. We've now gone into a Ten Hag moment now. I think he'll go personally. I mean, I know nobody wants to talk about the management situation at Spurs, but I think it's going to be there, isn't it? It's sort of there in the background. It's how do you think Ange? Forget about Amaron for a minute, right? I'll ask James when he comes back. But do you think? I think Ange knows what's happening next season. I think if you look at his press conferences, if you look in what he's been saying, like he said on Sky, when I will win something. Do you know? He never said at Spurs. So whoever comes in next has to now, if we win this Europa League, they're coming into a Champions League playing side. So the pressure is going to be on the new manager. I want you to succeed. There's pressure on Amaron already to succeed next season. So on both managers, do you think Ange's got the easiest job out of the two of them? Because if we are to believe that he is going to go at the end of the season, Ange, there's no pressure on Ange. He can relax. He can enjoy the occasion. He hasn't got the pressure of probably what am I doing next season. Where on Amaron, there's so much pressure, and it's already come out. United won't sack Amaron if he loses the Europa League final. So do you think there's more pressure on Amaron than there is on Ange? Because I don't think there is on Ange. I think Ange is he's got less pressure on him than Amaron has.
I actually don't. I disagree. Because if you look at Manchester United and Amaron, he's come in mid-season to a squad that he hasn't been able to influence in terms of the playing personnel. And Colin has said in the chat that the players that haven't got the IQ level to play system. Now, when you look at the situation that Ange is in, even if he knows that he's going to leave his office first thing Thursday morning to get fired, it's going to be a pride thing. He's going to want to walk out of Tottenham with something that Jose, Conte, Villas-Boas, and any number of other managers that have been there in the last 10 years that you care to name haven't walked out with. And that is a proper trophy. So he can go to leave as he's walking out the door and saying, I turned in a club that had won absolutely sweet bugger all for the last X number of years, and I won the Europa League. It's a pride thing. He's not going to want to be in the same conversation as Pochettino and all these other managers that did not deliver Tottenham a trophy. So, if anything, I think the weight of expectation and pressure is firmly on Ange's shoulders.
I mean, look, Column's saying that there's too much damage, James, between Ange, the club, the fans, which there is, isn't there? There's a lot of disconnect between us and Ange. Yeah. And I sort of agree with Colin that I don't think winning the Europa League is going to fix that. And I do agree with that. But
I don't think it will fix it. I don't think
what message will that send out to the next manager, though? Do you know, here's a manager that's won you your first major trophy since 2008, your first major European trophy in 41 years, and he gets the sack. What message does that send out to the next manager? Now, we could get new owners in between now and then as well. So, do you think everything's coming to a head on the Tottenham side? Fresh start everywhere.
Yeah, I think I think when I'm going to say when Levy and Enick finally leave Tottenham, I think that will be it will be the end of an era, but it will be, I think, the end of the ability to, as Spurs fans, to sort of say that, hang on a second, we haven't got owners that back the manager, or we haven't got owners that want what's best for the football club.
Yeah.
Because if we get somebody in, if we get when we get our new owners in, they're gonna want the money to still come rolling in, but they're also going to see that to get that money to keep rolling in as it's going to roll in,
you have to win something.
you have to win something. You have to be competing at the top of the Premier League. You have to be competing year after year after year in the Champions League. You have to be winning things. And that is how you increase your turnover. Manchester United right now know that, yes, that they won the Europa League and they've won a couple of FA Cups in the last few years. I'm not dismissing that, Rebel. But what they've noticed is that Manchester United's financials have been going steadily down because they've not been playing in the elite competitions, like the Champions League.
I want to add something on to you. You make a good point there, actually, and I want to bring Rebel in on this then. So if you look at our financials, right, we're steadily going up and up. Okay, we're financially within FFP and PSR. You look at United, I think Rebel could vouch for this, that they need European football next season to get money in. How badly damaged, Rebel, do you think United have been without financially? Are you? I mean, is it really that dire straits that you need European football to stay solvent?
I'm going to put it this way: it's not. James has kind of hit the nail on the head, but it's not so much the lack of being in that competition that has damaged our finances. It's exasperated us, but it hasn't been the catalyst that caused the issue. They are residing in Tampa, and they've got bald heads, and they're dirty rats, you know what's. But they single-handedly took a state-of-the-art top 5 in Europe stadium when they took ownership of Manchester United, and have let it degrade and rot into ruin to the point where it's meaned with our waterfall and all the rest of it. They have, over the years, had the club pay for their purchase of Manchester United. We're still paying for their dad's acquisition of the club with their accounting that they did. We've watched them pilfer and take resource after resource out of the club, and then hire incompetent idiots that were their buddies, the likes of Woodward, etc., into roles that they weren't qualified for. Woodward was a very good marketer. If he stayed over on that side, things would have been fine. But he took over David Gill's role, and then we started to see the debacle with the contracts. Buying players for 20, 30 million above what? We say if we were buying more from you, and you value more at 20 million, we were coming in with our opening gap at 60. You were sending back, jokingly nearly, 80 million, and we were starting your hand off. We were then giving that young fella, that was probably on 10,000 with G, 250,000 off the rent. And all those mistakes and errors started to compound. Now it's the point where not being in those European competitions, as was rightly pointed out, is putting us basically on the brink of bankruptcy. Manchester United cannot sustain its own operations. We watched Jim Ratcliffe lose 25% of his net worth during the week. So it doesn't look like he's in a position to take on the job that is rescuing Manchester United from financial ruin. Manchester United Football Club needs to sort themselves out.
Well, you need Champions League football then. That's what you're saying. You need some sort of... We've got Big Bad Ron here. Big up Big Bad Ron. He says, saw Manderson getting on the bus today. I've just got our source as well, was just WhatsApp me. Madders has travelled, but it's still unknown if he will play any part in the game. If he does play on Wednesday, James, would that be a major shock to you if he was to be in that starting 11?
Starting, yeah, definitely be a major shock. So I was of the understanding that Maddison, Decky, and Bergvall were always going to be travelling with the team. They were always going to be travelling with the team.
But there's been no sign of Bergvall, though. That's what I haven't seen him.
Well, according to Big Bad Rom, he says walked very briskly to the hotel. So what is going on? Bergvall looks fully fit too. Have a club pulling a fast one on Man United. But could be the mole.
That's the thing. Is this all to do with this mole? And that's the point. Are they now trying to put out false information?
Yeah, like Boris says there, Bergvall did travel. I knew he travelled. Like I say, these players were always Big Bad Rom. I'm going to tell you what I know is that back when we actually qualified for the final, and this was even before Bergvall picked up his knock. Ange Postecoglou categorically stated that the players who have played a big part in getting us to the final, they would be travelling with the squad. If Sonny hadn't got back to fitness just as at the right time, Sonny would have travelled with the squad anyway.
Well, he says this. I saw Bergville and Madison walking, and they look very fit. I mean,
here's the thing, Dermot.
What do you reckon, James? What do you reckon? What's your gut telling you?
I think they've gone to support the team. I don't think look. Madders could possibly. Bergvall, yeah, maybe, but to what expense of the team? Yeah, like Colm says here, looking fully fit and being fully fit are miles apart. I did my knee and was on crutches for a while. A few weeks later, I didn't need them, but I was not fit enough to play football. I'm in exactly the same situation. 6 months ago, I was involved in an accident. If you walked by me and I was stood and I weren't stood with my crutches, you would say, "Oh, you look all right. You look like you've healed." I mean, I try to move, and I'm going to be on the floor. I think that they've travelled just literally to support the team, and to support the squad.
Boris does put there from reports what are coming out. Bergville could be on the bench on Wednesday. And also Madison had it's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think they're there to support the team. I agree with that. I don't think I would fall over if any of them are in any on the bench or the lineup.
Yeah.
I really would be surprised. But this is Ange Postecoglou. He does pull some fasting.
Maybe like I say, maybe he was spinning the narrative of that these players aren't going to play to keep the scent off. How we're going to line up, how we're going to set up, what kind of team Manchester United are going to actually face. It very well could be. Football is mind games as well as straightforward, just playing football. But I would be amazed if Madison plays, or if getting on the sub bench, fine, maybe even as an unused sub, and Ange is just giving them the ability to be able to go out there and celebrate it with the teammates because they had a big part in getting us there. I can understand that. I think I would be extremely shocked to see either of those two players in the starting 11. I would like literally be falling over and be like, what have we given them? Be like, every Man United fan would be asking for doping tests on them too, because they've either given them something to play through the pain and like to not feel anything.
I mean, look, where you at it, Rebel, with your Man United squad? What's the latest from your end?
Well, it looks like Heaven is fit, which is good news, because I do not want to see Lindelof playing against you because I think he's a liability. De Ligt, he's probably 50-50. I haven't heard too many reports. He hasn't been seen in open training. Obviously, Xerxes, we know, is already out. Hoyland is fit and probably our only attacker that is available because for some reason we decided not to register Cheeto. Don't ask me why. But then in terms of our midfielders, Toby Collier is back. We have Casemiro fit. Like, I suppose in terms of squad, the majority of them are fit and available. We're going to be looking to Bruno to basically carry us again during this game because there is a lot of players that aren't good enough. But in terms of what's available, there's players with European pedigree that could possibly be an impact because we've seen Maguire, he's played big games. We've seen Casemiro is 7 for 7 in European finals. Onana is 0 for whatever number of European final season. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. But you mentioned Bergville, and I was actually surprised that they even thought that he could be fit because the one thing that we have learned over the years in Manchester United Football Club is rushing players back and then giving them a little something to kind of take them over the edge to be able to get out on the pitch is a bad idea because the longevity of that player is going to be hurt by it. There's no question in it. And I think when you look at an asset like Bergville, a player that has you want another 10 years out of, you'd be stupid to risk him. I'd say something now if it was kind of Sonny who's going to say, I'm going retiring after this game anyway, get me out there. But it's not that. It's a prize asset that is going to be a mainstay of your midfield for the next decade.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Rebel. I think it'd be stupid and the detriment to what could possibly be the player is far outweighs. Look, we're lifting a trophy and losing him for next season. I would sooner have him for next season as well. I just speaking about training. I think so. Tomorrow is media open training day, isn't it? So I know Manchester United are training at Carrington, and Spurs will be training at Bilbao's stadium. I can never remember the name. I know it begins with an M. Marisa.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've got a question on that. Do you think that's a smart move by Spurs? Do you think that's a bad mistake by United not being out there early?
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
I do. But I also think you can see it from both sides of the coin, really, because if you can't tell me if both clubs are in Bilbao and you've got players, you've got Manchester United training in the stadium or Spurs training in the stadium, you're not going to try and get someone in that ground to see what players are training.
Yeah.
This way, I think with Manchester United being back at Carrington and Spurs being at Bilbao, yes, the media get access for like 15 minutes of the training session. But after that, the media are removed and things. So I think it's clever. So if you were keeping a player hidden and saving a player because you didn't want him to be seen by the media and that, you'd keep him in the dugout, the media are gone, or you keep him in the dressing room, the media go, you pull him out and you put him through his paces. Yeah. But if you've got both clubs in the same city and in and around the ground, you're going to basically, there's a chance of that bit of information being leaked to the opposition.
Also, if you got a chance to play in the final, you're going to play if you're injured or if you're injured as well, aren't you? You're going to go through the pain barrier. I mean, I remember back in '84, Keith Berkinger had this same sort of dilemma when it came to Ray Clements and Tony Parks. That Ray Clements came back from injuries, and Keith Berkinger said, "No, I'm going to stick with the young goalkeeper. He's got me to this final, and we're going to stick with him." I always say this run, it reminds me of 84. It's just similarities during this run and during 84. Just it's knitting together. I don't know where you're at it, Rebel, but I look, just to sort of round this all up, it's the first show of the build up for the big game on Wednesday. We are on tomorrow night as well with James with his tactical analysis of the game. He will be showing us how we think Spurs are gonna line up, how we're gonna tactically beat Manchester United, but also how Man United might tactically beat us or hurt us. So, Rebel, look, I know you got to go, so I'm very curious of your time. So, do you want to give a little bit of a score prediction, and where can people find you?
Thanks very much, Dermot. Yeah, I just wanted to make one final point on Bergville. I think he got injured on what date was it? The 2nd of May.
Yeah.
So he's missed a fortnight's worth of training. So even if, as Ron has pointed out, he might have no injury with his knee. Like, missing 2 weeks of training has to have some bit of effect on your ability and your gas tank. So maybe you put him on the bench as a just in case, thinking that you might get 20 minutes to see out a goal lead or something. Maybe there's a kind of a calculated play there, but I don't think the risk reward is worth it. But in terms of a score prediction, now my heart wants a United win, and it would probably be by a singular goal if we did beat you. It'd be something along the lines of a 1-0, a 2-1, or something. Actually, no, what am I saying? We're not going to keep a clean sheet. It's going to be probably 2-1 or something like that. My head says the analytics comes down to two things. Manchester United in Europe and their unbeaten form has been against non-English sides. So that stat goes out the window because we're playing an English side. It's Spurs. Ruben Amorim has not beaten Ange Postecoglou. Ten Hag has not beaten Ange Postecoglou. And since Ange Postecoglou took over Spurs, we have not beaten you. On the other side, you've got Tottenham and the whole final story that we don't need to go down the line again. So to that end, 2-1 Spurs. And where you can find me is Rebel, Kerry_Rebel on the Twitter machine. And myself and Colum will have news about Manchester United related content in due course.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
And also, apologies for the sound quality. It wasn't until Big Ron said it that I realised that my mic was actually in the webcam as opposed to on my headset.
Well, listen,
Fair
I
enough.
know you needed to get off early, so I was very conscious of that. Me and James will go for another 10 minutes, and then we'll call it a show. But Rebel, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you on Wednesday for the pre-match. I think you and Colin are jumping on. So we'll see you.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. Come on, you something. Not your Reds, anyway.
I love this comment, by the way. I love this comment. Jack Grealish, I'll take that every day at week.
Yeah, we are buying them for 5 million. We bought them to the channel. See, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Look, for Wednesday, I mean, how pumped are you? I'm so pumped at the moment. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I am nervous. It feels like pre-Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I feel like at this moment in time, that is exactly how I would put it. I am Christmas Eve's Eve.
Yeah.
It's like the night before Christmas Eve. I'm like a kid again. I'm like 13 years old. Like, what's my presents going to be? I'm so excited. I can't sleep. I can't think straight. All day. Every person who's coming to my office today at work, everybody, right? Even the people who I know are not football fans. Who do you fancy for Europa League? Who do you fancy for Europa League? That has been my number one question today. Who do you fancy for the Europa League?
Have you chucked a few of them into solitary confinement?
Yeah. Like some of them have turned around and said, "Oh yeah, Man United are going to do you," and I've just been like, all right, what score do you think it's going to be? So we'll hammer you like 4 or 5-0. I'm like, get out, get out, because you're talking absolute tripe. If you were going to have a sensible conversation, we'd have a sensible conversation. But get out, 4 or 5-0.
Look, team wise, we are going to go through it tomorrow, and we are going to give tactical view tomorrow for the game, which I'm looking forward to actually. And then of course on Wednesday, Sky, we've got before the whistle, we've got the watch along, and then we've got final score. God knows how long that's going to go on for if we win.
Yeah, I mean, let's be right though. I mean, the watch along could go. We could go to penalties.
Oh, don't.
I mean,
don't. I 84. We went to penalties.
Yeah,
84. We won it on penalties. I couldn't bear it if we went to penalties again. I didn't know the penalty Solanke scored in the semi-final in the first leg. I think I did it for you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I couldn't watch. You know that yourself. I put my head under my jumper. I couldn't watch. And not a lot of news today on Tottenham, by the way.
It's been very quiet, really.
Look, this is the short list. I mean, I don't like to bring this up, but I think it was given to me, so I thought I'd just bring this up. This is the short list to potentially take over for Manch. Now, I know it's a final. We shouldn't be talking about this, but it was given to me. I just want your guys' thought on it. Now, we know Inzaghi probably was staying in Milan. We said that before, didn't we, James, before we came on?
We did.
Pochettino will probably stay in America.
Yeah, because of World Cup.
Yeah. Marco
Silva's distanced himself and said, I can't do that to Fulham. I wouldn't do that to Fulham. Glasner
will stay at Palace.
Yeah, because he's just got them to Europe. Yeah. And Thomas Frank, he's distancing himself. But more as that is probably one thing. The one thing I've actually read today that actually made sense is Thomas Frank came out and said he's getting annoyed at being linked with the job at Tottenham when Tottenham already have a manager, and it would be inconsiderate to him as a manager, and it would also be inconsiderate to the fans at Brentford and Brentford as a football club to even entertain Tottenham. So that says to me he's ruling himself out. Francesco Farioli, I stated it earlier, but I think it's just been clickbait. Colm said clickbait, not sure about that in the comments. Okay, maybe not clickbait, but how about it's a manager that's just become available on the market and now all of a sudden Paratici is interested in him? It doesn't make sense to me with regards to that. I don't know if you've frozen, Dermo. You've been very still. Yeah, I think Dermo's frozen. So I will carry on. So, so Farioli to me doesn't seem to make any sense. The one manager on that list that I would say is probably going to be our next manager is Xavi. I've said it for weeks, but I think he's going to be the go-to. And yeah, Colm, you're absolutely right. It's free, no money. Daniel will like that. But then again, it's not all down to Daniel anyway. It's not. Big Bad Rom says, we must remember that Thomas Frank has two fantastic wingers who have 38 goals between them this season. He wouldn't have that at Spurs. No, he wouldn't have that at Spurs. Absolutely. Boris, I completely agree. We'll only get Xavi if we get Champions League football. And I believe we're going to get Champions League football. I really do. No, Rom, it's not. It's not an Italian menu. It's really not. It's now down to the CEO, as Boris says, now down to the CEO and Paratici, as those two will be in charge of a football side from now on. Absolutely. And yes, Rom, it is the ex-Ajax manager, because he did quit Ajax after he handed PSV the title in Holland after throwing away a 9-point lead with 5 games left. So personally, I wouldn't want him as manager if he can do that. No, thank you. Honestly, guys, Dermo seems to have had some kind of connection issues and streaming issues. He just found it frozen, vanished on me. Oh, he could be coming back. Are we coming back, Dermot? Yes, we are. There you are. Welcome back.
Sorry, I had a power cut. A very quick one. Everything went
fair
off.
enough.
Everything went on. It's Daniel Levy playing with my internet again. That's what he's doing with my electrics. So we can't go out and buy a new manager. Or Ange Postecoglou. Look, there's a lot happening with Tottenham at the moment, isn't there? We've got the new CEO starting.
Yeah.
We've got this Ten Hag situation with the manager.
Yeah.
Does it stay or does he go? We've got a massive game on Wednesday against Manchester United. Do you know what? I going through that list, I was just thinking. I'll share it with you what I was told behind the scenes, but I've always wanted Thomas Frank as Tottenham manager. I've always liked him, but
I think he's a good manager.
Yeah, if Ange wins the Europa League, are we heading down a Ten Hag moment? Because you look how United handled Ten Hag. He won them 2 trophies, and instead of sacking him, they offered him a new contract. Now, Ange is going to have 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
At the start next season. If you're Daniel Levy or if you're new owners, Paratici, we know didn't want him there in the first place. How big of a summer is this going to be for Spurs? Say if we win the Europa League, how much does that change our summer from us
Massively.
not winning the Euro? In what way does it change it? Does it change it financial reasons, plays we can go for? The likes of Romero, will he stay? Will Van der Ven stay? Will these players that have been tipped to leave stay now? And does that all depend on Ange staying as well? Because a lot of these players have not thrown them under a bus, like they've done with Conte, like they did with Mourinho, not like they did with Nuno, Pochettino. Redknapp, I suppose, at the end. Redknapp sort of caused his own problems, I think, by
he did.
Yeah. But are we now got to a point? Are we at our Ten Hag moment now?
I don't think. Look, Ten Hag's situation at Manchester United, I think is slightly different to Ange's, because of it being Manchester United, of the pressure of being the Manchester United manager. We are in, I would say, we're at a crossroads.
Yeah,
I would definitely say we're at a crossroads, and whether or not we choose to, if Ange wins the Europa League, we're still at that same crossroads.
Oh, we are.
If we lose the Europa League, there's a good chance that we're not at that crossroads. We're at a dead end. I think personally, what will happen is that if we win the Europa League, Ange will still go, and I think he'll go with a better payoff than what he will go is if he doesn't win the Europa League.
That's the thing. Do we really want Ange? Big up to Iceman as well. Says, Domo, what manager will come to a team who finished 17th in the league? Get Levy out. Look, I agree. I agree with you. Levy has to go. I don't think you will hear me or James say anything any different to that.
No.
We need new owners. We are going to get new owners. We've been telling you that for months that we're going to have new owners. Now, a lot of it's behind the door. A lot of it's NDA. A lot of it we can't say, but we know there's going to be new owners. I mean, I've been told repeatedly it will happen. We've told you, I know we told you about a month ago talks are stalled, but that's only with one set of prospective owners.
Potential owners.
There's other potential people that want to come in and buy the club. Now, would that be a United style takeover, or will it be a full takeover? We don't know. But I don't think you will hear any difference between you and me that Levy needs to go.
Oh, 100%. And from what I'm hearing is that if certainly with our new, what is Vinny's sort of role? CEO?
Yeah.
CEO, isn't it? So from what I'm believing is even if we get new owners, Daniel Levy will not be staying at the club. They may keep him on in an advisory role to business side.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
That's what we've been saying, that he will be kept on as an advisory role. But can you imagine
in the business sense to drive the Spurs business, not to have any kind of influence over the football team. And Big Bad Rom says it here as well. He says Levy will use every and any excuse for a limited transfer budget. He does it every season. He does. And I mean, there's been reports already that we're going to have to sell to buy this year, which is
I don't believe
in the summer. That's such a codswallop.
It is. You look at a Paratici transfer window under a Lang transfer window. You look at the Paratici, totally night and day. And also with Levy, right? What a time to leave and sell the club after winning the European trophy.
Yeah. Because the stock is at its highest at that point.
Yeah, it is. Of course it's going to be. Big up Nice Man. He says, will Levy sell? He still want. Of course he's going to want his 40%. Of course he is. But I think he will take. I agree with James. He will take an advisory role. We all.
I think he will. What you've got to remember, Iceman, right, is, and a lot of people forget this. Yes, Daniel Levy is our chairman, but actual Levy Group, so him as his family, they only own 27% of Tottenham.
Yeah.
That is the percentage. That is the actual true percentage what Daniel Levy has.
And then 89% Enoch.
Yes. And the other little bit is 79% Enoch, and the other little bit is the supporters trust. What the difference is that Levy will say that, okay, you can buy the club, but you buy the 79%.
Yeah.
And I'm keeping hold of my 27%. That is how I think the deal will be structured. Is that Enoch want out of Tottenham, but Levy doesn't want out of Tottenham because it makes him too much goddamn money. And Iceman says it here, we have a £200 million transfer budget, what we can spend. And that is just that's just breaking even money. That's not putting ourselves in why? So Rom says here, why does he have such a big say then? Because he has the backing of Enoch, who owns 70+%. Yeah. So basically, when Joe Lewis and Enoch took over, they didn't want to run the club day to day. So
they left it to Levy.
So Joe Lewis said to Levy, "You buy so much percent of this club, and you can pay for it over a longer period of time. And you run this football club for me. You make us money." And that is how it was put. You make us money.
Yeah.
And that is what Daniel Levy has done. He has made Joe Lewis, or Joe Lewis's family, and himself very, very wealthy men. Their actual financial value is through the roof just off the back of Tottenham.
Look, I know I lived under 4 different owners at Tottenham Hotspur. The Richards
Yeah.
and the Richards family and the rest of them. Ivan Scholar, Alan Sugar, Enoch.
Alan Sugar and
Now,
Enoch.
anyone can slag Alan Sugar off all they want, but he saved our football club.
He did.
So you got to
He
give
brought
him
us
credit.
back. He brought us back from the brink of actually
Yeah.
complete collapse.
Yeah. And as much as you want to, as much as we do criticize Levy, you look at us now. We've got a fantastic new stadium. And did you see it? The other thing, Everton have got the naming rights straight away for their new ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're still waiting. I laugh because we're still waiting to get our naming rights. And that's nearly 5-6 years now down the lane. Down the road.
But do you know why we won't get the naming rights? Why our ground's not been named? Because we've had offers. We've had Google, we've had Amazon, we've had Nike, we've had big companies come in and offer us good money. But Daniel Levy has a figure in his head. I don't know where he pulls these figures from, but he puts a figure in his head. and when he gets that figure in his head, he will not budge. That's it. No. This is what I want. And if you're not willing to give me what I want, go somewhere else. And that's how he negotiates.
Yeah. As the title suggests, glory does await. It does await, James. It's 48 hours away from a final where Spurs can make European glory. I know this conversation hasn't sounded excited, but believe me, we're excited.
We are.
What can people look for you for tomorrow night's show? What sort of idea have you got? It's a tactic show. We're going to go we're going to go over the lineup, which we think, and then me and James then will be putting out our predicted lineup for Wednesday morning, plus our pre-game thoughts as well on that, guys. There's a couple of videos going up on the channel, one from Brad as well. And one thing I've got to do, I promised, I will do it if I can find it. Where's the video? Right. It was, where is it now? Just talk for 2 minutes there.
No worries. That's right. So yeah, so basically our next show is the tactic show. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and break down the possibilities of how we can break Manchester United down. How do we successfully break through Manchester United's lines? How do we become successful in this cup competition? But I'll also look at it on the flip side of that as well. I will also look at how Manchester United can stop us from breaking down. I'm not going to go one-sided and be all gung-ho on Tottenham. That's what I will look at. I will look at it fair and impartial, and I will look at how Manchester United can break us down, how Manchester United can break us down, what Manchester United need to do to win this competition, and then obviously from the Spurs side of things of what we can do to break Manchester United and nullify them. It will be an interesting sort of take because I'll be looking at it from every angle which way I can try and think of. Like Dermo says, we'll be looking at our predicted lineups. Who I'm going to go with who I would like to see starting.
Yeah.
As well, and excuse me, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. I know I don't sound excited about it, but it is going to be a bit of a mind trip for people. But stick with us, stick with it. Hit your like and subscribes, please. It helps us. It helps us bring you the shows that you want. It helps us get up to our target of 3K.
He's signing for Tottenham. That's who he's signing for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, but Wednesday we've got before the whistle. We've got the watch along. We've got also final score. Well, I will be on at Dave's at 5 for the build up on there. And then I come straight over here to do the build up over the lineup, gearing up for the final. by God, it's going to be a big game. Tottenham, European glory. I can't believe putting them two words
Glory
together.
is a stone's throw away.
Yeah. Well, as the title does suggest of the show, glory awaits. But do join us tomorrow at 8 for James's tactical analysis, or the James's Tactics Show. I'm trying to think of a name, good title for the show. James's Tactics Show. There you go. That's what we're going to call it. James, thank you so much for joining me again tonight. We are back tomorrow, guys, at 8 o'clock. But James, you take us out, son. You brought us in, you take us out.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you very much, Dermo, for having me on tonight. It's been a great show. Again, an hour and a half just gone of our lives. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. Like I say, please like and subscribe. We are nearly at 3,000. Pick up your memberships if you can. They're really reasonable. And I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham for Wednesday. That's my prediction. And on that bombshell, we will end tonight. Thank you very much.
Come on, you Spurs. Very quickly before we go,